We all know there aren't nearly as many female millionaires here in the U.S. as male millionaires. So what does it take for a woman to make $1 million? Jude Miller is here with the secrets behind her new book. It's called The Millionaire Mystique. Jude, thanks very much for joining us.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you for having me on the show.
So tell me a little bit about the women in your book. How did most of them become millionaires?
Many of them took the route of owning their own businesses, but also many of them were in corporate America. I think one of the things that linked them together is that they were very resilient, and no matter what kind of detours or failures they had, they kept on moving forward.
And there were a couple women whose stories really stuck out to you. I want just give me an idea of one of them that really resonated with you.
Angie Hollier owns a family law practice in Phoenix, Arizona, and she is very resilient and has excellent people skills. She was in a marriage and there was domestic violence, and she ended up having custody of her child, and she knew that she had to make things work so she could afford to give her daughter a good education, a few trips, and a lot of the basics. She just kept moving forward, and now she has one of the best-known family law practices in Phoenix, Arizona.
And you had this kind of rare opportunity to talk to a lot of different women who had made $1 million in a lot of different ways. Did you find any similar kind of characteristics or personality traits in these kinds of women?
I did. As I mentioned, they're very resilient, and conscientiousness was one of the biggest personality factors that they had in common. They were conscientious, extroverted, agreeable, and that they really valued the affiliation in the organization. They were also very creative and industrious.
I think the interesting thing when we talk about, how to move women up the ranks, how to become a female millionaire in a man's world, if you will, you get a lot of advice from people that essentially tells women to act more like men. And I'm curious what you think about that, and if that's the kind of advice you see women in your book getting.
I think we've made a lot of progress, and I don't at all think women have to act like men. I think the workplace has become much more tolerant for women to still be feminine. There was a lot of sexism reported, and some of the women did report that they tried to be less feminine, but I would say overall in most industries, women are, it's more welcome for women to be as feminine as they naturally are.
All right, your book is called The Millionaire Mystique. Thanks very much for being here.
Thank you, Sarah.